Hi, everyone. It's Maria Recruit and Amanda Renault. We're meeting you again. We're going to be talking about how to start a business or a gig on a zero budget. And today I'm going to be talking about how to use social media for your business. And Amanda's going to chime in here because we both use social media a lot. But it's my turn to talk about it, and Amanda's going to chime in, and she has her section in the next video. So, you know what? I wrote the book, Double Your Income Using Social Media, and I wrote that in 2015. And, you can find this on Amazon, by the way, so if you want to buy it, and you can see how different social media, how it's changed since 2015. And I'm quite alarmed about some things that I'm seeing. And I was talking to someone who actually started me in 2011, because I started social media in 2011. You can go and see Double Your Income Using Social Media on Facebook, and you can go and find my book, Double Your Income Using Social Media. And at that time, it was about business. People were talking about business, helping each other out. But now it's more political. And unfortunately, that is the way of the world. And also today, I was listening to this. I was actually listening to someone on social media talk about, it was a YouTube video. And one of the big, I think it was Anthropic, I think it's called. Amanda, help me out. I think it's called Anthropic. They shut down his account for no reason. So my YouTube channel was shut down a year ago. My Facebook was shut down about 8 months ago. It's up and running now, but they won't give me back my YouTube channel, So this is what's going on. I think, Amanda, have you got something to say about them shutting down and what's happened to you as far as making income with Facebook?
Yeah, so I've noticed specifically for Canadian content creators, there isn't a ton of opportunity to make a ton of, you don't make the income you would, let's say, off TikTok as you would here in Canada. Our Canadian content payers were not even paid at the same kind of level.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I've noticed is that even if you do get accepted into Canadian monetization programs, they can just pull it away at any time. So what I've learned with it is not to rely on the monetization part, but the connections that
Yes,
come with the social media.
yes.
Because
It's
it
all
can
about
be
connections. I
yeah,
agree. Yeah,
all pulled out from underneath you overnight, and you can't get back into your account, and you've lost those connections. And I had issues uh for from 2020 into 2022, and I was getting 60-day bans, 90-day bans, all these
wow,
things.
wow.
And I realized then, okay, this is not going to be, it's not going to be scalable long term for me. It's
Sure.
going to be a tool, but it's
Yes,
not going to be a scalable, reliant type of income for me because
yes,
I'm Canadian, right?
yes,
So,
yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree. But I remember when someone told me about that. Oh, why don't you, do certain types of posting for Facebook? You'll get paid. I said, really? So what happened is I actually went on there and read through, and I was filling out the form. At one point, they asked me for all my personal information. I said, there's no way I'm giving Facebook my personal information. So I stopped because I will not do that. It's as it is, they're spying on us at every level, wanting to know who we are. So yeah, I just can't play that game. But that's why you and I have started teaching people how to start a business on a zero budget because we have to do it our own way. First of all, and I know that you're really good at this with business cards. And you made digital business cards for me. So let's say you're a business and you don't have any money. You can get digital business cards made up, or you can make it yourself and or go to Amanda. She can make them for you. You have a website and then start gathering names of people and emails, because the only real thing you have is your database. And your database is where you can send emails out to everyone. So even if they shut you down, which they will because they do with everyone, everyone I know is getting shut down every so often, is at least if you have your database, you can always send things out. And I like Substack because you can send emails and you can send newsletters out, and you own those emails, but make sure you have it set aside someplace else where you can cut and paste and put them any place. So let's look at what's happening in 2026. Starting a business is an exciting journey, of course, in 2026, but social media is less than just posting and more about being a discovery and community building engine, which is what Amanda mentioned. Because your time is your most valuable asset as an entrepreneur, and it's crucial to be strategic rather than busy. And I think you'll agree about that, Amanda, that being busy and posting a lot doesn't give you anything back. And I know that from my own experience, Amanda, where I was on Facebook and social media sites all day long, and it didn't bring back what I needed to bring back. How about yourself?
Well, the way I look at it is, and the numbers speak for themselves, because if you look into what the ROI, the return on investment is when you do advertising campaigns on social
Mhm.
media, it's actually fairly low. Like
Yeah.
we're talking, you're investing money and time into ad campaigns, and it's very low, the conversion to get, turn those leads into
Mhm.
actual income. So
Yeah.
it's what I've noticed is it's about 3 to 7% from different social media platforms.
Yes.
So which is very, very low for in my opinion, what you would spend to run those ad campaigns.
Mhm.
And then potentially, you've got to worry about attracting the right audience. So for me, with social media, I don't bother with ad campaigns because it doesn't attract the right audience, and the ROI just isn't there for what my industry. Maybe for other people, but I know for what I do, I've not had a lot of luck. But what I do find with social media is the goal there is to educate,
Mhm.
entertain, and
Yes.
engage. So
Yes.
you can do those things there. But if you think that, and everybody thinks they're going to be an influencer today, and
Yes.
they are investing so much into these crazy contents that it's like you're watching them and it's not real.
Yeah.
It's just there
Yeah.
to cause some, and some of it, okay, it's funny or it's clever or whatever, but the reality is with social media, you have 3 seconds. You have three
Yeah.
seconds to get somebody. And you may get that person hooked on your content, but then it's not the right alignment in terms of business. So, really, what I've found is social media is great in basic communicating, getting a mass message out, but it is very poor when it comes to like more interpersonal relationships. That's been my experience.
Yeah, I must say the same thing. You're going to laugh at this. So, the only reason I got on social media was one person that I met many years ago in 2011. And she said, "Oh, you've got to be on social media." I said, "No, I don't want to be." She says, "Oh," I said, "I don't like the fact that they may not like me," because that's all I knew about Facebook, right? She says, "Oh, no, no, it's more than that." So she got me on there. And then I tried advertising for one thing only. I never got a return on investment. I never did advertise ever again, just like what you're saying. But I just met her last Friday, and she just brought this up. She says, "You know what?" She says, "In all the times that I've been on Facebook and social media, because she's been there much longer than I have been, she says I've only made one sale. Think about that. You know how many years that is?" Myself, I did quite well in 2020 when I started a workshop for landlord called Landlord Boot Camp. And then I had a mastermind for real estate investing. So that went very, very well. But at the end of it, I was exhausted and I just I just couldn't continue. It was very exhausting. So now I'm going to be doing it a little bit differently. But I must say, she told me exactly that she, who was teaching me about it and got me set up with all the social media sites, she said that's all she did is made one, in all those years, made one sale. Think about that. But myself, I was on social media networking with people, and I didn't get much of a return on investment. People got to know me, just like you're saying, Amanda. Absolutely, they got to know me. And actually, I went to another meeting last week, and they said, "Oh, are you Maria Recruit?" I said, "Yes, yes." "Oh, I want to come to one of your events because I had live events for about 5 years, once a month." And then the other one said, "Yeah, I want to come too." I thought, okay, that does work, Amanda, right, as far as that's concerned. But let's look at what are some of the core principles for a new business, because that's what we're talking about, Amanda. We're developing this course to help people start on a side gig in less than 60 seconds to know what kind of a business you can start. But never leave your job, because the side gig will never be able to pay you what you need to carry your life forward, but you can get started with it just like Amanda and I have done. Because what we're teaching you is what she and I have done. So let's look at the 10 strategic rules for new businesses. First of all, prioritize social SEO. Platforms like TikTok, okay, so SEO, can you explain SEO, please, Amanda? Because you're the expert about this.
So this is your search engine optimization. So when you produce a piece of content, these hashtags and the information that you're going to input in the SEO place of wherever you're generating content, which is usually hashtags, phrases, it should have relevance to the content. What that does is it allows the algorithm to place your content in somewhere in the internet. So if it's not placed in the right category, that means users can't find your content. If the algorithm doesn't understand where to place your content or how to categorize it, it won't get seen. So for most people, it comes down to being clear. What is the video about? Use proper hashtags, use proper phases, and make sure it's clear and consistent for your SEO.
So where would they find that information so they can self-teach themselves about that, Amanda? Do you have any particular YouTube video you've watched about that? Or how have you gotten better at all of this?
I actually learned on my own. I self-taught. I did
Mhm,
watch some stuff on YouTube, but a lot of this was more playing around, studying content, seeing what the audience is engaging in,
mhm,
looking at my dashboards on the social media platforms and tracking the content. So what hashtags did they like? What about that post or piece of
mhm.
content mattered to them. What
Yeah.
was it, So understanding that some content you're going to get reaction from and some content you may not. It's about connecting with the audience. So if you understand how to do that and how your content and how you want to connect with the audience, then you can place it in SEO better. Your hashtags become more clear, more
Mhm.
concise, the algorithm agrees, and your video gets pushed to the front of the search engine. So,
Whether it's a video or whether it's an article that you write, it's always the same, isn't it? That's
yes.
what people are looking for, yeah. And we are up high, I was looking for ours and I saw it. I said, "Oh, there we are," but that's your work, not my work. Okay, so let's go over here. So platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube are now search engines. Optimize your profile name, bio, and video captions with relevant keywords so potential customers can find you when they search for your niche or just when they happen to scroll past you. That's your name is very important. That's your brand. Your name or your company name is your brand. Number two is hook them instantly. In the short form video era, you have 1 to 3 seconds, just like Amanda was saying, to stop the scroll. Start your videos with a pattern interrupt, a bold statement, a question, or a virtual cue, a visual cue that immediately promises value. Number three, humanize your brand. I think that's really important, you know. There is a glut of generic AI generated content online. Audiences are craving authenticity. Show the faces behind the business. Share your why and document the behind the scenes reality of building your company. Did you want to add something to humanizing your brand, Amanda?
Yeah, I think what it is that what when you humanize a brand, really what you're doing is you're connecting the art of storytelling to human experience while incorporating your brand. People love a good story. How did it come to be? They love knowing different things about a brand that they might not have really known, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you can connect that to the experience of human and what it is to be human and how to resonate with others, that is what really brings people in. If they resonate and they connect and align with it, then they are going to trust a lot easier. And that's what business is all about, is building relationships that are full of trust and
Yes,
they're full of authenticity and you align with.
I
So
agree. Yes.
that's why I think it's super important.
Yeah, I agree. It's a real person behind the brand, right? And they can see your warts if they need to. I don't know if you
Yes.
want to show it, but it's okay, right? It depends on what you're selling, right, as a
Yeah.
product. Number four, community over audience. I like this. This is more what's happening in 2026 is the community. Don't just broadcast to followers, build a community, which is really important. That's why if you have a Facebook page or a Facebook group that you organize, they get to know you and you're building your community. I think that's really important. Reply to every comment, create polls, and use stories to ask questions. People buy from people they feel connected with and that they trust. Let's look at number five. It's quality equals quantity. Algorithms prioritize watch time and engagement, saves and shares over frequency. It is better to post three highly valuable pieces of content per week than to burn yourself out posting five mediocre ones. Did you want to add anything to that, Amanda?
Yeah, I see this a lot. I see this a lot with content creators. They start off creating specific content revolved around one topic. They begin to kind of branch out, and then it becomes a giant sales pitch. Every
Yeah,
post then
yeah.
becomes a sales pitch, and they lose the connection and the original engagement because they've changed the direction of what they're building. And
Mhm.
people see ads and are marketed to all day long. They don't like to be misled. And if they think that your content is misleading, you've presented it one way, and then all of a sudden, then you're then sending a cold call into their email and you've never had a conversation, you've lost them forever.
Yes. Oh,
Well, maybe not
absolutely.
forever, but you've lost them for a little
Yeah,
while.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that's,
For sure. I'm
you
so
know,
surprised. You know, Amanda, you've got such a good point. I mean, I have people that, I mean, I had my YouTube channel when I had it. They were sending me, I want to help you. I don't even know who they are. Why would I do business with someone I don't know, right? That's who I am. And because I do it that way, Amanda, I usually don't get scammed because I just don't go with anybody that comes on Facebook and says, oh, I can make things happen. But I want to tell you a story now, Amanda. So I had a lot of these people from, especially from Bangladesh, that were getting in touch with me saying, oh, I can really help you with your YouTube channel, bring you up, bring a lot of people to you. So I said, okay, which is what I do with everybody. Please send me two or three people that you've worked with, their channels. And what I did is when they sent that to me, I went and actually got in touch with these people. And I asked them, has this person worked with you? And one woman, he says, this man said to me, oh, yeah, I've been working with this woman. I really helped her. So I actually got in touch with her and sent an email and said, okay, have you worked with this man and how was it? She says, well, I just worked with him once and he wasn't very good. But he said she was his best customer. So, see what I'm saying, Amanda? That's why you have to find out what the truth is.
Yes.
And you don't find out what the truth is if you just sit back and take and allow anybody to sell you anything.
Hmm.
So I never did go with him, of course. I never went with anybody. What I did, Amanda, just like you, I went in, watched videos, read things, and tried to learn myself.
Hmm.
So learning myself, then I was able to, my brand was getting better all the time. But what I learned for YouTube, even they shut me down, it helps me every place else. So, and now you and I are doing our shows here, on this channel. But yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to go to the next one is adapt the repurpose mindset. So create one hero piece of content. I know you do that, Amanda, quite well. Example, long form video or deep dive educational post, which is what we're doing right now, you and I, right?
Hmm.
And chop it into 5 smaller assets, a short clip for reels and shorts, a carousel post for Instagram, LinkedIn, a text thread for X, etc., which is what we do. So what I do is I use Taja. Taja.ai is one of the most fantastic apps that I have purchased through AppSumo. And it does everything for me. And I know Amanda is really impressed by the quality of work that's coming out of that. Do you want to talk about repurposing your repurposed mindset, Amanda?
Yeah, so I do this often, and this is an example of how I repurpose content. I have a love for nature and flowers and photography. And I would go out and I would take pictures, and then I would edit those pictures and use them as book covers.
Oh, nice.
Or I would do longer videos and chunk them down into shorter clips or perhaps reels, add music,
Mhm.
make collages with my photos, and I would also use things like my AI stuff, some of my AI photos. I would do the photos quickly, and then I would write out my article. So there's different ways to do content, but if
Mhm.
you take an hour recording, you could have content for months if
Yes,
you
you can.
chunked it down
Yes.
and you really used it. So it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be making hours and hours and hours of content a week.
Mm-hmm. That's right. You're right. And you learn that in time. When you're starting out, don't try and learn too much, especially if this is a side gig and you have a regular job and you have a family. Just do it very slowly. And because you start a business doesn't mean you're going to become a millionaire. You have to learn a million things before you can become a millionaire, and that takes many years. So contrary what the foolish influencers are doing, and these are usually people put in there in place for a reason, right? And they buy their way in. It really isn't happening just by chance, and you can see when you start seeing them go behind and see what's really going on, you're going to see they've been put there on purpose for certain reasons. And a lot of it's political based. A lot of it's political. So let's go here. So the repurpose mindset. Yeah, I use in video. AI. I use Taja.ai, and I've got a number of them, that we can talk about in the future. So let's look at this one, the most important, which is what I just spoke to you about, Amanda. Focus on social proof, which is what I did, right? I actually phoned up the person or sent an email say, do you know this person? Have you done work with them? And I had sent out 5 emails and only 2 people got in touch with me. The rest ignored it. They probably thought, whatever, right? And then one person said, no, he had never worked with the person, even though that person that was trying to sell me his services said he worked with him. He said, I'd never worked with him. There you go. So before customers trust a new business, they need proof. Prioritize sharing user generated content, customer testimonials, and reviews. If you don't have customers yet, demonstrate your product's value through case studies or live demonstrations. So, what have you done, Amanda, for your social proof?
I have my Google page set up with my clients who go. I always encourage them to leave me. I'm in publishing and an author like you, Maria,
Mm-hmm,
so I
mm-hmm,
encourage reviews. Amazon relies heavily book well authorship period. You need reviews
Yes.
and your business page on Google. You can use things like customer letters or emails or text messages
Hmm.
that they've sent you that were positive.
Yeah.
You can use awards, certifications to gain credibility and provide social proof. Or you can use examples of your past to show consistency in the things that you've been doing and building.
Yes.
So those are
Yes.
all really good strategies to use.
And it takes time again, right? I mean, again, it's not instant and
Yeah.
you can't fake it. And
No.
unfortunately, the ones that are trying so hard to make some extra money, I understand where they're coming from, but I don't trust people unless I know them and I see the work they've done. I just don't. And quite frankly, I prefer to learn because, I even say this to them, and this is what's happened to me, is that, okay, so you get somebody that helps you for a while, right? And then the money runs out because you can't always afford to pay somebody whatever they want every month. So what happens when they leave? You're left there again, not knowing what you're doing. So that's why I want to learn, Amanda, just like you. I want to learn myself. So I don't have to rely on anyone else. And I know how to do it. So I learn how to do it. And yes, it's slow. And yes, I make mistakes, but it's my mistakes for my business and my money stays in my pocket. That's the way I look at this. Now, some things I don't want to be part of, and I can see that the person who's doing work for me is better than I am. So that's something completely different, right? But when it's somebody that you don't know comes out of the blue, just a beginner, and is going to promise you're going to, go up to the moon. Well, I mean, when it sounds too good, it sounds too good. It is too good. Now, this is what Amanda and I are doing actually. The eighth step here is collaborate to grow. And that's why Amanda and I have started working together and producing these videos because we've gotten to know each other. We've done a number of radio shows together. You can see us every Friday and every Sunday on realwealthradio.ca. You can hear when we talk about topics. So we decided, okay, let's collaborate on helping people start a side gig. And so we're very excited by it, and we're doing these videos, and we're writing articles, and we're on Substack. We're going to have podcasts, and I'm going to be getting the course ready to that people can actually buy the course and learn also. Plus, coming to us, we're going to have Zoom calls with people. So collaborating to grow is what actually Amanda and I are doing. So if you follow Amanda and I and do what we're doing, you're probably going to be successful. So instead of trying to grow from zero alone, collaborate with micro influencers like 1,000 to 10,000 followers in your niche. And I know Amanda and I have all that even more. Their audiences are often highly engaged and trust their recommendations. So do you want to add something to the collaboration part of it?
Yes, it's true. You can't do everything. You can't possibly know everything. You need to collaborate with other people, especially when you're just starting out, because you don't have huge budgets. You don't have giant communities and, all these kinds of groups behind you or all of these tools and resources in the beginning.
Yes.
At least most people don't realize what kind of tools and resources they can access in the beginning. So it feels like you don't have a lot, but there is lots out there.
Yes. Yeah.
But
But
I do think for most people, collaboration is huge because you can work together
Mhm.
on similar goals, or you can trade back and forth. If you help collaborate on this project, I can help you here. You get things done faster. And in business in
Exactly.
general, you have to be a team player. Do it you can't do it on your own.
Yeah, and that's so true. When I wanted to learn how to buy real estate, like get into it really seriously, I found a mentor. Like when I was younger, my father was my mentor, but then I found someone else when I was getting into it really seriously. When I wanted to learn about cryptocurrency, I found another mentor. When I wanted to learn how to play the penny stock, I found another mentor. So I've always had mentors holding my hand while I'm going along. And that is collaboration of a sort, right? So, and you give and you give and you take, you give and you take, and you don't have to pay each other. You can just do some sort of a barter. We're going to be talking about barter, and we have it already. We've done a show about barter, but probably going to be going into a little bit more strategy with that, Amanda. So
Yeah, in
number
the future.
nine, number nine is track the right metrics. Don't obsess over vanity metrics like follower counts. I agree with that. Focus on metrics that signal business health, saves, shows high value, shares, shows virility, relevance, and website clicks shows intent to buy. At least they know you're out there. And the last one, Amanda, is number 10, be platform native. Do not just cross post the same video with a watermark from one app to another, and that's tough at times. Users can tell. Adjust your editing style and tone to fit the culture of the specific platform you are using. And that is very important, the specific culture, which I will go into next week. I'm not going to do it this week because we're almost done with our time. And I'm going to be talking about choosing your social media platform next week. But did you want to add anything more about platform native, Amanda?
Yeah, they will ding you. And if it's not your own content and you're saving it and just sharing it as your own, they will get you on that, and you will not get the organic views because they really want content to be original and authentic. They
Mm-hmm.
want you to be modeling their fancy filters and features, and really that's what that's what they want at the end of the day. And when you are integrating content and you're not being cognizant of watermarks and copyright infringements and all of those things, yeah, that's one way quickly you'll lose your social media accounts.
Mm-hmm.
So they
Yeah,
do really
absolutely.
reprimand people for that.
Yeah, yeah. So today we were talking about how to use social media for your business. I hope Amanda and I have helped you. So I'm just going to sign off. And Amanda, how can people get in touch with you?
They can email me at magneticpublishing2023 at gmail.com.
Great. And myself, you can get in touch with me on any of my social media sites. It's Maria Recruit. My email is remnn2018 at gmail.com. So I'm going to sign off right now, and please join us again. Keep watching our videos. We hope to hear from you, whether anything we've said has helped you or not, or if you wanted to add anything. So thank you very much for joining us. See you later. Bye-bye.